In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at whether you can use the elasticity and some other information to help back out what the demand is. So you could think of it as a problem where you as a financial consultant or some sort of financial analyst are trying to figure out what the demand curve is for a given industry. Let's say think about investing in the monopoly provider of some product. And from financial reports, you've been able to figure out, or they've actually explicitly stated, what is the elasticity of demand. And you know from other information in the financial report what the price and quantity were in equilibrium. So let's think about how you might be able to use that information to solve this problem. So let's start by just assuming that the demand function is linear. Okay, so the demand function is equal to some constant alpha plus a slope parameter beta times price. Okay, so beta is the slope of the demand curve. We do not yet know what alpha and beta are, so we don't know what alpha and beta are. Those are the values that we want to find. But we did manage to figure out from the financial reports that the elasticity of demand is equal to minus 2. And we know that in equilibrium in the last year, the equilibrium price was $10, let's say, and the equilibrium quantity was 25 units. Okay, so with this information, there actually is enough information there to figure out what alpha and beta are. So let me show you how you might do that. So let's start by writing down the formula for the elasticity of demand. Okay, the elasticity of demand is equal to change in Q over change in P times price over quantity. Okay. I want to point out that this first part here, change in Q over change in P, that simply is the slope of the demand curve. So that's equal to beta. So we can rewrite this elasticity of demand as equal to beta times price over quantity. Okay. And we know from the information that was given to us in this problem that the elasticity of demand is equal to minus 2. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is let's take this part here and copy it, and then we will paste it down here. Okay. Okay, so this is basically the information that was relevant up here. Okay, so if we multiply both sides by Q over P, we get beta times P over Q times Q over P. This is the part that we're multiplying both sides by, is equal to minus 2 times Q over P. Okay, now if you look on the left-hand side, this price, actually I'll do this in red, this price here cancels this price, and this quantity cancels this quantity. And so we're left with beta is equal to minus 2 times Q over P, which we know that Q is equal to 25 and P is equal to 10. So beta is equal to minus 5. Okay, so now let's come over here to this side and let's plug that in. So we have demand is equal to some constant alpha, and then as we plus beta, but we know that beta is equal to minus 5, so we'll put that in. So minus 5 times P. So now the only remaining step in this problem is to find the value of alpha. So we need to know some point on this demand curve. Fortunately for this problem, we were given one point. We were given the point in equilibrium. It's this part here. Okay, so let's plug that in. So that gives us that 25 is equal to alpha minus 5 times 10. Okay. If we add 50 to both sides, that gives us that 75 is equal to alpha. Okay, so overall we have that the quantity of demand, the demand function, is equal to 75 minus 5 times price. Okay, so just to reiterate, we started with one assumption that demand was linear. We didn't know what alpha and beta were, but we assumed that we knew the functional form of demand, that it was linear. We also assumed that from some source, like financial reports, that you were able to get the elasticity of demand measured at the equilibrium price and quantity, which we assume is also available from some source. So even though you might not be able to figure out what demand is because you might not be able to run some sort of a price experiment, we'll talk more about why that's hard to do if you're not the firm, or why it's hard to figure out what the demand curve is if you're not the firm. But you can still, if you have this information, back out what the demand function is, even if you're not someone in the company, not someone who can run a price experiment. So this is just one example about how you can rearrange some of these equations or sort of use the information in them to help figure out something that was not given to you in the problem. I know many of you may not go into finance, but I hope that this is one example of an actual use of these types of strategies or methods. So I'll stop there. Please finish the problem sets before class, and we'll go over some harder questions, I would say, in class.